After 20 years, the Metropolitan Museum, located in New York City, returned two Cambodian Khmer sandstone sculptures that were looted all the way back from the 1970s from the ancient city of Koh Ker. From the origins of the looting, the rise of these crimes came about amongst a political turmoil under the rule of the Khmer Rouge amidst the 1960s and the 1970s. Motives behind these happenings started as a protest against restrictive governmental acts and laws, but eventually taken advantage of by buyers and sellers looking to make a quick profit. It became a lucrative business, as UNESCO representative Anna Lemeister puts it, quote, "If dealers placed an order, the looters would go back to the temples and hack more sculptures off the walls." Close quote. A big figure within this market was Douglas Latchford, a collector, trader, author, and self-proclaimed adventure scholar, according to Vincent Noche, writer of the art newspaper. He became synonymous within the collector community as a shady businessman, a manipulative artifact smuggler that got away with too many of his crimes, two of which were the aforementioned Cambodian sandstone sculptures from Koh Ker. Once donated to the Metropolitan Museum during the 1980s to the 1990s, 10 years dragged along until notice of stolen sculptures within Koh Ker were pinpointed towards the two Cambodian ones. From this, a case was now being held between Sotheby's, the sculptures auctioneers associated with Latchford, and the United States government, dictating the legal ownership of the Cambodian artifacts. Ultimately, Sotheby's returned the statues back to Koh Ker after denial from the Cambodian government regarding the wagering sales offer. Latchford passed away before any of his criminal past was put into trial. Getting more in depth with the case regarding the Cambodian sculptures between Sotheby's and the United States government, there's actually quite a lot to unpack here. Here's the rundown. The United States had their arguments plain and simple. Latchford illegally traded ancient artifacts from Cambodia. Therefore, legal action must be taken about ownership. And what was stolen must be returned to the original site, that being Koh Ker. Seems like a pretty cut and clear case, right? Well, Sotheby's had a different interpretation. Sotheby's argues that regardless of the removal of the statues, there was no proof that it was stolen from Koh Ker, claiming it was an abandoned site that was forgotten with time. As the case moved along, a Khmer scholar, Emma Bunker, wrote to Sotheby's expressing the negative attention Sotheby's would get if they put the sculptures on sale, due to her having damning evidence of them being stolen. She went as far as saying, quote, "If you get bad press, it will be from the US, from academics and temple huggers, not Cambodians," close quote. As a result of this, Sotheby's expressed to Bunker to share her arguments with the Cambodian government and see how they would handle the situation. Right before the auction date, Cambodia told Sotheby's no. The United States had all the rights to take the sculptures from Sotheby's because of the clear and concrete evidence presented by Bunker and her associates. I suspect the only reason why Sotheby's held onto their arguments was not because of the moral haziness of the sculptures' histories, but the money that was involved, around $2 to $3 million during the auction period. The instinctual greed that companies possesses fuels their need to push their ideals, which was what Sotheby's was doing. And this brings me to my next few points. The world can be easily deceived by what is presented at face value. It is imperative that we know the truth and understand why humans behave the way we do in means of personal gain. Today, we are so caught up with questioning ourselves if what we view is true or not, if something is AI or not, or what we do is right or wrong, etc. This is a cause of shifting technologies. But back then, just a bit more than a decade ago, people were open to believing what they were taking in. This goes the same way for art and history. Because of this, it was easier to believe false information, hence why no one batted an eye towards the artifacts until research was conducted. American lawyer associated with the Cambodian government, Brad Gordon, expresses how people walking through the Met have no idea what antiquities are all around them. They don't know the histories, and they don't know the people who were killed to get them there. The big idea picture is this. Humans, driven by greed, flow through life going under the pretense that the ends justify the means. However, it harms the environment that comes before and after them. As a society, we need to be aware of why we actively think about every action we do for ourselves, because in some cases, it can be towards to the detriment of others, such as the Cambodian citizens who lost their lives during the Khmer Rouge, again tying it back all together. I leave off with a quote from Teresa Davis, a smart history narrator, that encompasses my main messages. This is not just about art. Like these statues, so many Cambodian families were broken up by the war. It's an important part of this recovery to bring home where these statues belong, so Cambodian children can learn about their great past and hopefully to inspire their equally great future.